Lost in the Pyramid is an adventure game from Crazysoft. You play as an adventurer called Indiana Bones and have to first find and then explore a pyramid. For the main game menu, there's the options to start a new game, continue a previously saved game, the options, high scores and about. As usual in Crazysoft's games, in the high score you can export your highest score using the button down here and simply enter that code on their website, and you can put yourself against other people. In the options as standard controls, you can choose how fast the text appears, you can enable the help, you can choose which language is fully translated into many different languages, and also the sound settings. The game has a few main styles of play, and I'll explain them as I go through this overview. So before I explain how to play, I'll just explain the main elements of the HUD. So in the top left, there'll be the writing, so that'll advance the story and tell you what you need to do. Up here you have your life meter, so depending on your choices you can both lose and gain lives. And here's your point meter, and depending on the choices you make, if you make the right choices you'll gain points. There are also arrows at the top, but they're used later in the game. So this is one of the types of gameplay in the pyramid. You're given a simple choice between yes and no, and there's also a what button, and pressing that will give you the text up here, and it'll ask you a question which you have to make the choice on. So the question is, do you want to go see a psychologist? So if you click yes, it'll carry on the story. Depending on what you choose, the story will advance slightly differently, and you may only get things by doing certain choices. You cannot lose points, but you can gain them, and you know when you've gained them if you pick a right answer, since you'll gain points and it'll tell you how many you've gained at the top. The text will also be green. So if I click no here, that's the right answer, so it's green, I get extra points, and it'll say +1 point at the top. The game will autosave when you get to the next main area. This is another type of gameplay in the pyramid. You need to complete your task, which in this case is to get into the pyramid, and then you can continue on through the story. So the view for this is slightly different. Down here, this little icon here, it shows where your character is currently standing. If I click anywhere, it'll bring up a small speech bubble, and you have a choice between looking, using, or using something in your inventory with what you're clicking on. So generally when you first get to an area, it's good to click on everything and have a look at things so you can work out what you need to do. For example, I can click on the door lock, click examine, I'll get extra points. So you want to try and look at everything. So the ladder, you can look at the ladder. And also there's a window up here, and a little ledge here. So the way to get into the pyramid here is you want to use the ladder, so you simply click on the ladder, and the second one down, little hand icons, is the use. So now you're given a choice which is yes or no, so you do want to climb the ladder, you get points. So now the character has moved to the top of the ladder, as you can see him there. So now you need to jump to the window. So first, if you try and jump to the window now, it'll say you need to examine it first. So if you look at the window, you'll get extra points and you'll be able to know what to do. So now that you've looked at the window, you can try and jump for the window. So if you press the use button, you can then choose to jump. So if you click yes, now this is an action sequence. So you're now mid-air and you have to try and get yourself into the window. So you simply click on the ledge, click the use button, and now you're inside. If you failed, you will have fell to the ground and lost a life. So this is the third type of gameplay in the pyramid. You're presented with a large room, or multiple rooms, and you're looking at a top-down and a slightly isometric view, and you have to work out what to do in this room to continue. Up the top, since you're on a stationary scene like this, you can press the plus button up here which brings down a menu. You can save and quit your game from the current spot. You can abandon and go to the settings menu. Just click anywhere. Use the inventory. Now there's two icons. Pressing this one and clicking on object would tell you what it is, and this one lets you combine them. So now you continue on through the game and you have all those three types of gameplay represented throughout, and they get harder and harder each time. So the next room you come to will have two separate rooms and you have to do a lot more things and it'll get a bit more complicated. So once you run out of lives you'll get game over. It'll then work out your score, and if you got a new high score you can enter your name, click OK, and then put it yourself on the table. And it says do you want to continue, and clicking yes will just take you back to where you last were. So that's Lost in the Pyramid, which is a fun adventure game from Crazysoft.